Yeah. So good morning, everyone. So just to recap what we discussed till now. So we discussed about the work process, dialogue, update, enqueue, background, so message server, logon groups, some other daily monitoring transaction codes we discussed, right? So in that work process, in that SAP work process, so we have some other transaction codes, like we have the two work process left, DB, EB, MGS. So up to message server we discussed, right? Today we are going to discuss about the gateway work process. Okay, gateway work process. So what is mean by gateway work process? Okay, so gateway work process. So gateway work process is like, I will give you one simple scenario. What is mean by gateway? So in our gate, suppose take example in apartment of the gates. So in the apartments, some other independent houses, we have the gateway security, right? The gateway security person. So what exactly he will do? The security man, the gateway security person. What exactly? What is your roles and responsibilities? When you keep one person, so to secure your house in the outside of your gate. So what exactly is duties? Anyone knows what is the use of the security person?
Without permission entering that
So he cannot enter into the our house, right? Without valid proof. So when you go to the any other persons, without this one, he cannot enter, he cannot come to the so our house. So that is the main gateway work process. That is the, so the gateway security. So same way, like I will put this way. So without unauthorized person, maybe unauthorized persons, he cannot enter into the our house without any valid proof or something, cannot enter. Suppose if you go to the officials, so if you want to meet one official or some celebrity, there is a uh, proper security checks will happen in his gate. Once the security checks is done, then only he is allowed to meet the officials, he is allowed to enter into the systems, right? So same way here, the gateway work process also, it kind of same duties will perform in the our SAP system. Same kind of duty, same kind of responsibility it will do in the gateway work process as well. So gateway work process. So if any connection, if anyone unauthorized persons, maybe unauthenticated person, maybe hacker connection, which is coming, which is entering into the our SAP system, the gateway work process will restrict your connections. And also in the gateway we can monitor whether the connections, which are the connections are in progress, which are the disconnected, all kind of work we can see in the gateway transaction code, that is called the SMGW. If you go to SMGW is the transaction, here you can see, so how many connections are there in the inside of the system. If you go to the logged on clients, how many clients are logged into the systems. So these are the IGS related. So this is the my session. Currently I logged in with my session, my connection status is okay now. So same thing like that, how many RFC connections are connected to your systems. So inflow and outflow, which is coming inside of your system, inside. So some external connections, will talk to the, this is your SAP system, right? The person, the connection which are coming to the inside of your system, here immediately the gateway work process, what it will do, it will check whether it is allowed list or not allowed list, whether this connection is authorized person or non-authorized person. If it is the authorized person, then only the connection will come to the inside of the system. Otherwise he cannot log into the our, he cannot log into the our system as well, he cannot log into the our system. So same here in the gateway also, here we can see the connections which are coming inside of the systems, those things we can monitor here. So if any connections are disconnected, why it is getting disconnected, so what could be the reason, possible reasons, those things we can see here. See here, each system there is a limitations, you can see. So connections, maximum 2000 connections by default are allowed. Means for SID 2000 per application server, only 2000 connections, means 2000 users are allowed inside of the system. If the 2001 is coming, then system will not take your request. Suppose example, in front of your home, gateway person is there, but your home capacity is suppose 2000 members, your home capacity. If the 2001 person is coming, then gateway WordPress will not allow inside of the home. Why? Because already the connection limit is over. Connection limit is over. So that if any one of the existing persons are logged out, or connection is gone, if any out of the 2001 is free, then immediately the next person will log into the systems, right? That is what the, when you go to the temples or when you go to the VIP, something like that. So then when you meet to, when you go for VIP to meet, so they only the particular members are allowed. Then after that, next batch. After that, next batch, right? That type of connections limit is there everywhere you go. Same as like in SAP system also, we have the limitations. See here the limitations we have. So connections, only 2000 connections are allowed. Logged on clients, 1000 connections are allowed. Already current 5 are using. Remote gateway, so 1000 are allowed. Only one is using currently. So the connection limit, the limit is there here. So sometimes everything is okay. Sometimes in the system is okay, database is okay, everything is okay, existing users are login, but the problem is new users are unable to log into the your system. Why? Already existing users are there, they are able to work, they are able to work the transactions and everything, but new users are unable to log into your system because of the connection limit is over here. So gateway is disconnecting the issues. Always so think like the users are unable to log in means what is the status of the dialog work process? Okay, dialog work process, we have the free work process are there. What is the status of the database? Okay, so system response time. Okay, so what about the other users? Yeah, other users, they are able to log in, they are able to work, they are able to complete their work and everything is okay. Only thing is new users are, they are not allowing, which means we need to check the other time, we have to come to the here the gateway, check the limitations, how many connections are there here or not. You need to check here how many active connections and how many connections are there here. You need to check in the systems here. You need to check in the systems. That's the, so gateway work process does here. Okay, only valid persons only allowed inside of the systems. So the connections which are there in the systems, so what exactly, so all these things we can monitor here in the systems. My connection, I logged into the system, so here my connection is okay now. Okay, so same as like for other connections, other IPs, all the connections will be tracked, it will be listed here in the gateway work process, gateway monitor. Okay, here we can monitor the active connections and everything, we can monitor it in Smgw. If something goes wrong, some errors, the users are unable to log in means, go to here, trace gateway display trace. So trace means here the errors will be displayed, everything will be tracked here in the gateway work process. So in the gateway work process, which connections are rejecting, what is their IP, local host name, all the information will be displayed in the gateway work process. So in the log file we can check it out, all the information and everything here we can check in the log file, that is called the gateway log file. So in the log file here we can check if there are any errors or not. So only particular user is unable to log in means, so we need to check what is their connections is recording into the gateway or not. We can check it out from here. Out of 20 users, only one person is unable to log in. Remaining all are able to log in, is not able to work. Then means we need to take the trace why. So are there any external functional, external security and everything. And also, not only this is the minimum security gateway will perform. Minimum security gateway will perform, right? Minimum security the work process will do. When you go to the VIP's house, there is a standard security. One more security will be so there. When you go to the VIP's house, they are the more security. So here also in SAP, minimum security will perform by gateway work process. But if you want to increase the more security, the time you can go to the expert functions, external security, maintain the ACL files, access control list, ACL files. So this ACL list will increase the more security. ACL file will increase the more security, which means, so here P means permit, user equals to star. So I don't want to star here, means user equals star means all users are allowed inside of the system. No, I don't want to allow all the users. I want to allow only the users which are there with the only Ravi. Only Ravi are allowed here. That means I can put this way Ravi, then save it. Then here only the user equals to Ravi only allowed inside of the system. Is there any user only Ravi is able to log in? What about the others? What about the others here? So that here like that, so like that we can restrict it. Only like that we can restrict the process and everything we can restrict inside of the system, we can restrict it, right? So like that we can restrict it. All the users we can restrict here. But if you want to put the minimum security, you want to allow all the users, not sure who are the all the users, then you can put the star, which means here all users are allowed. All users are allowed now. This is the SecInfo RegInfo pair. So which means which are the users, what is their IP address, they are allowed inside of the system. Suppose if it is the financial system, is the banking sector system. So in this case, system will they will put the some security roles, more security roles. The banking server, maybe if you take the ICICI bank server, if it's a banking XYZ banking server, they will put the more security roles here, which means they will create the more security like, okay, so they want to allow, they want to only allow TP is equal to our laptop. They want to allow maybe they will the client banking servers, right? Client send when the client will send the laptop. The laptop address will starts with the maybe LP, something like that, LP star. User also they have some naming convention they follow. Maybe so bank star. So which means bank Ravi 1, bank Ravi 2, bank Ravi, something like that. They will put the some naming conventions. So like that, if I put what exactly it will do, only user bank is allowed. His laptop address or desktop is connecting from that, it starts with the LP1, LP2, LP3. It starts with, just for example, LP1, LP2, LP3. It should start from this IP address only, which means none of the users are allowed. But the users which are is a laptop IP is starting from laptop host name or laptop address is starting from the LP star. The username is starting from the bank, so it will be allowed inside of the system. So like that we can put the some security connections here, some more security. So few organizations they will implement the more security, few organizations they will not does not take care of the security. Why? Because so it's there for needs, as per their recommendations they will go for that one. So this is for the, if they want to put more security, then we can go to the external functions, then we can add the more security features in the RegInfo and SecInfo files. We can add the more security roles we can add it. Here we have to create the ACL files and SecInfo RegInfo files, we have to create it, then only they are allowed inside of the connections. So the SecInfo is for the which are the users are allowed inside of the system. RegInfo is for the which are the programs are allowed inside of the system. So those RegInfo, SecInfo files you can create it, then save it, then activate it, then only these persons are allowed inside of the systems. This person reread globally only. So these connections are allowed inside of the systems. These users are allowed inside of the system. I don't want to allow all the users, then remove the star here. You want to put only these programs are allowed, then you can put the these programs. P means permit, R is reject. If you want to reject some of the connections, then you can reject it. Not a problem. You can reject the connections as well. Suppose I want to reject not TP is equal to star, not all the persons. So I want to reject. Then you can put the D for deny. D for deny. I don't want to put D for deny. Then I put all this one, right? All star. Then I put all means all users should be rejected here. All users should be rejected here. Then I put so I will change the comments here. Instead of this one, I will change the comments here. Then if you are trying to log in, then you cannot log into the inside of the system as well. Why? Because I put all connections should reject it here. Like that, I put connections here. Then when you are logging to the system, maybe we need to restart the system to affect these parameters. So you need to restart the system to affect the parameter values and everything. So based on the connections which are putting here, only those connections are allowed to log in inside of the systems. Those connections are allowed inside of the system. But if I put star instead of star, if I put deny, if I put deny, save it, okay. If I put deny and save it, then even you are also not allowed to log in. You are also not allowed to log into the system here. Not allowed to log into the system, but it will not take it out. Why? Because even your connection also will be disconnected. Your connection also will be disconnected. So all connections deny, it won't take it out. If you want to restrict only particular functionalities, then you can restrict it. Maybe if you want to create, you can create the entry, or if you want to edit the existing existing gateway changes, you can perform it. So this is the gateway work process external. So normal security authorization, it will perform it. But if you want to increase the more security, if you want to increase the more security, that time just you can go to expert functions, external security, maintain the authorization file like that. So you can check it out. See here, file content info does not matching starting with index 3. So it's not allowing to access here. So then you can put the more rules here in the systems. Okay, more roles in the systems, you can put it out. So by default, it will allow all the connections with the minimum security checks it will perform. It will allow the connections. But you want to put the more security. You want to put the more security. Then in this case, just you can go to the here. You can add the all the connections and everything. You can add it. Suppose I want to put only allow the. I want to access only this person. See here. So I want to access only this IP related host. Then you can mention the IP details and save it. Only this IP is allowed inside of your systems. Like that, we can create the reginfo and secinfo file. So sometimes you may get the questions like, how can I increase the more security in your SAP systems? Means by creating the reginfo and secinfo files in your systems. So normally few people they won't recommend, but few customers they will so go with the increasing the security features, more security features. Why? Because in our SAP system, so our SAP financial data will be stored, right? In SAP system, financial data, all the data will be stored, bank accounts, everything will be stored. So if you allow the hackers, then they will log in and they will do anything, right? So to avoid those type of connections, hacker connection, everything, we can increase the more security rules here. More security you can enable it by expert functions, external security, by creating the reginfo, secinfo files. You can create it in the systems. Reginfo and secinfo files you can create in the system, so that it will increase the more security features and everything here. So gateway work process is like to protect your system, or in other way, it will allow only authorized connections to inside of the system. Here we can monitor how many connections are there, how many connections are initiated, then what. So all the information here we can see. We go to the how many RFC connections are there, how they are login, whether the connection status is okay or not, to what time they logged in, all the information here we can find out in the systems, right? This is the gateway related thing, right? So and also if you go to the AL08, here we can find out the all users list, all users logged on list we can find out. See here, this is my connection, I logged in. So same connection you can see in the SMGW itself, you can see the same connection. We go to the and RFC connect, same connection you can see here. Here also we can see the same connection. Okay, my connection status is okay here. So this is the way you can check the status of the your system. This is the way we can check the status of the systems here. Okay, is it clarified? Is it okay? So maybe interview point of time they may ask you questions like, so what is the use of the gateway work process? It will allow only so it will block or it will allow only authorized connections. Connections monitor we can monitor in SMGW. The connections are rejecting, we can check in the trace file. In SMGW we can check in the trace file. Suppose if you want to increase the limit, we can increase the limit. So they may ask you questions like that during the interview point of time. Okay, so suppose I want to increase the more security features, what you have to do, go to the SMGW, create the secinfo and reginfo files. So if they ask you anything, you can just tell like, okay, in SMGW we can monitor the connection status and anything. So sometimes the connections are in the red status. In the when you go to the here, when you go to SMGW, sometimes the connections are in the red status, which means those are the disconnecting due to some internet issues or their issues. Those connections are disconnecting status. In this case, what we can do? In this case, we can kill that one. We can delete that connections as well. We can delete those connections. Suppose if this is the client, if I delete it, so you can delete it. We can delete the connections itself. We can delete it. So see here my connection. This is a local connection. If I delete it, my connection also will be deactivated. My connection also will be deleted. Okay. So but with the same connection, you cannot delete it. So if you have any other connections, we can kill it. If you have any other connections, we can kill other connections as well. We can kill it. Okay. This is the gateway number of connections we can monitor here, and we can delete it as well. We can delete it. Suppose sometimes the connection is disconnected. In this case, that is the abnormal connection. Then we can delete the connection from the gateway. We can delete it, right? That is the what we can do from other connections, right? If you want to monitor, go to the trace, then gateway, display the trace. Here the trace will be enabled here. The trace will be enabled here. Here we can see what type of IP connections it is allowing. So what type of connections users are logged disconnecting here. All the things here we can monitor here in the system. So in the gateway trace, each time there is a gateway. If you go to the SMICM, so we already checked SMICM. I think we are not discussed SMICM. If we go to the work process, in the work process also we have the trace. In the gateway we have the trace, right? Message server we have the trace, right? SMMS also we have the trace. Go to trace file is there. All work process there is a trace. We can check it out what exactly that work process is doing in the system, like that we can check it out. If any issues, by checking the work process log file, we can fix the issues. Okay, so any questions or confusion here? Normally gateway work process is to monitor the connection status. If any red entries, if any connections are disconnecting, we can take the action. If some those connections are should be removed, we can remove those connections from the systems. So this 3 lines is enough for you. Suppose tomorrow if they ask you, how can I increase the more security to my system? If they ask you, you can tell like, by creating the secinfo, reginfo files, we can create it in the systems, like that we can inform them. Okay, so we can create it, reginfo, secinfo files, we can create it. So any questions from anyone here? Any confusion? They won't ask. Yes, sure.
Sir, the IP that is detecting in SMGW, it is the personal IP or
Company IP. Your suppose every company they will provide you one IP. Sorry, every company they will provide the laptop, right? So for that
yes,
laptop, so some they will for laptop they will ask you connect with one VPN, right? One VPN.
yes,
Yes, right. So each EPN there
yes,
is
sir.
a dedicated IP, right? Each EPN there
Oh,
is a dedicated
okay.
IP, maybe 90.10.10.123. It starts from this one, each IP. So the users are our team, our local team, development team, or functional team, or users are which are connecting to the system. The IP starts with the this one. Or when they open the laptop computer name starts with the suppose like so my company that means my company uh, underscore Ravi underscore 001. Suppose you are comparing my company, they will maintain some dedicated naming convention for the laptops. Why means
Yes,
the the users which are connecting to the your financial system, maybe your SAP system, that is only that is only allowed the which are laptops which are starting from the my company underscore suppose like XYZ. The only that person should be allowed inside of the systems, not the other persons. So that so the company, the laptop address, the laptop name starting from my company underscore only these laptops are allowed to connect your SAP system, not other laptops. So that in this way, we are putting the more security to the system. And also some companies, they will ask you connect the VPN, then only the client servers will open, right? Suppose here, I have in my desktop, I have SAP systems are there, right? In my desktop, I have the SAP systems. Sorry. So I will configure our ECP system here. Our ECP IP or something like that. Our ECP host name is this one, instance number this one, ECP, then connected. So if I open, it won't connect from your local machine. It won't connect, right? It won't connect. But once you log into the my network, once I log into the my network, so you are allowed to connect to the connect to the my server. Why? Because so here we set the rules like that. That is the reason you are not allowed to log in from outside of the network. Outside of the network means your personal laptops, your personal laptop, mobile computer, you are not allowed to log in. Why? Because if you log in from outside, some your mobile, your person, something is hacked your side, so then so they will hack my systems as well, right? That's the reason. So you are not allowed to log in from inside of the you are outside of the network. So whatever you want to do, first of all you have to connect to the my remote server. Then from that remote server only you have to do all the work. In that remote server only you have to connect the SAP systems, whatever the SAP system you want to connect it. You can connect to the all the SAP systems you can connect it, not from the others. Why? Because you are not allowed. You are not allowed to the connect. So that is the reason of the so we have these issues. So and also if you go to the
thank you, sir.
organizations also, when you go to the organization real time, they will ask you connect to the VPN or they will ask you connect to the one remote desktop. Why? Because their remote desktop is in the same network zone. So that you will first of all you have to connect to the remote desktop. In that remote desktop, the IP starts with the 49.205. Then only 49.20 IP address are allowed to connect my SAP systems only. Like that, we can increase the security. In this way, your systems are in the safe zone. So otherwise what happens if you allow all users to log in, do the something, then what will happen? The hackers also will log in, they will theft your data, maybe they will hack your system, then they will demand the some amount from you, right? To avoid this type of security issues, sap 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 is not only providing the security to your data as well. That is called the your gateway workforce will take care of the all kind of security checks and everything here by default.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the gateway. Nothing we will do here. Just we will see the when the issue occurs, we have to go and we have to check it. What is the limitations of the connections here? Or your system is hacked, or some people, some customers, please increase the gateway security rules. Then in this case, you have to go to the SMGW and go to the external functions, external security. Then create the secinfo, reginfo files. We have to create it. For this one, we have to implement some parameters, some reginfo files. We have to create it. We have to keep on monitoring the system and everything. It's not blindly go ahead and create the reginfo, secinfo files. If you create it, the connections which are connecting to your system, those will be stopped working. Those will be stopped, which means they will not able to connect. Then they will raise the tickets to you. I am unable to connect. You have to again fix the issues. So while doing these configurations, you have to carefully perform the external security related configurations and everything. Carefully you have to perform it. Otherwise, you can ignore it. Normal security checks, the gateway Workprocess will perform it. So the gateway Workprocess will perform all the normal security checks and everything. That is the reason the hackers will hack my OS. If I open my firewall, if I close my firewall, hackers will log in. I think last time also it happened in my server. Hackers, they logged in, they kept the data, but they are unable to log into the SAP. Why? Because here in SAP we have the gateway security, gateway Workprocess is there to block their connections and everything. But they have hacked from the OS level. They have hacked it, and this OS they have hacked it. Why? Because I have my firewall is there here. My firewall is there here. I turned off my firewall, which means which will allow the all the connections, right? It will allow the all the connections. Instead of they are hacking my SAP, they hacked my OS operating system. Why? Because I turned off all the firewalls, which means all connections are allowed. They logged into the system. They hacked my server. Again, I have deleted and I recreated the everything here. This happened in my first batch. The morning batch students, it has happened. They hacked the server. So that's the reason. By default, it will perform it. What we have to do here means just we need to monitor the things and everything. Are there any connections are rejecting or not? Go to the SMGW as part of the daily monitoring. Check are there any connections are disconnecting or not. Disconnecting, delete the entry here. Just to delete the entry from the system. That's it. Disconnect the delete the entry from the system. That's you have to do that one. That is the gateway work process and your work here, your responsibility here. Okay. Yes.
What if the connection limit is exceeded? What action to be taken?
Okay, if the connection is exceeded, maybe more users are logged into the system. More users are logged into the system in your system. Then in this case, so you need to increase the connections, or you have to ask them to wait for other users to log out. You have to ask the users, other users to log out from the system. Otherwise, we can increase it. So there is a parameters concept that will come after the work process completed. We have the parameters concept. So we can increase it. We can increase the connection limit. By default, it is 2000 connections are allowed. If you want to increase, we can increase it to 4000, 5000. We can increase it. So that if we increase the 4000 connections are allowed. We can increase it, but one system, if the 4000 users are allowed, if something happens, all 4000 users are disconnected from the system, your SAP will be down. So if you allow in one system 2000, one more application servers 2000 means, so that is the safe hands. So that right, so that is what we have to divide the work for them. Here message server will take care of that one. That's why in one server, if you allow the more users, if that application server is down, all users will be disconnected. If one application server, if you allow the 2000 users, one more application server 2000 users, one more application server 2000 users means all will work process will do here. Can increase the process, but so when you are increasing the process, check the instead of increasing the existing resources, you can build a new system. You can add the new application server so that if this is down, that will be active. If both are active, the load will be distributed among the application servers. One is down, one is active, then all users will log into this system, they can do their work, right? So that is what the customers will do. Instead of increasing the existing one, if you increase the others, if you add the one more system, the load will be distributed among the application servers. That will be clear. So we can increase it. If the existing process are over, we can increase the limit, but that required the restart. Make sure if you increasing the existing functionalities, definitely you need a restart. As part of the profile administration, we will discuss those things.
Then we can go for dynamic parameters.
We can
Go for dynamic parameters. That
Yeah,
doesn't
dynamic but not all the parameters are dynamic, right? Only few are the dynamic. It's not like that all the parameters are dynamic means why we need a restart. Restart is not required, right? Only few are allowed dynamic, few are not allowed. That's the reason. So, but dynamic parameters only temporary, not the permanent. It's not like that all the parameters are dynamic switchable. Only few.
hope that condition will not occur, I guess. That
Which condition?
maximum condition 2000.
Yeah. Normally we won't get this type of issues. Only heavily used systems. 2000 connections means 2000 users. 2000 users means it's a very highly not impossible. But worst case scenario, if the heavily used systems, so the users are making 3 or 4, one user making the 3 or 4 connections means 50 users, then so 50 into 4, then 100 users, 100 into 4, 2000 users, 2000 into 4. They will make the connections, right? We cannot predict it, but we have to, our duty is every user should log into our SAP system. They have smoothly execute their transactions and they have to smoothly complete their work and everything. That is the basis teamwork. In that case, if you want to increase the limit, you can increase it. Suppose I want to book the ticket. I want to book the ticket in the red bus. I want to book the ticket in the red bus. So if I'm trying to book the ticket in the red bus, it's not allowing to book the ticket because of the connection limit is over, which means who is owner of the red bus, the project, they will get the loss of the one transaction value. Take example 1000 rupees on the transaction value. Like that, we have the hundreds of users are there, they are unable to make the connections, means in the day 100 into 1000, so maybe 1 lakh rupees they have lost in the one day, right? So that is the thing. So the customers will think, right? So that is the reason every user should log into the system. They have to. So I will open the red bus here one time I have opened, and one more browser, like the 10 browsers opened, 10 connections I created, which means one user 10 connections, means hundreds of users, lakhs of connections. Small customers, fine, they won't reach it to the limit. The heavily customers, so definitely they will reach the limit, they may face the issues. So that's the reason. So we have to carefully plan this. Normally we won't get any issues. In case we get, we need to check the gateway limitation as well, right? That is the thing. So gateway related work process. Any other thing? Anyone? So if I say in Telugu, excuse me for the other guys. So తెలుగులో చెప్తే ఏంటంటే సిస్టమ్కి లిమిట్ ఉంటుంది, ఒక 2000 కనెక్షన్స్ వరకు లిమిట్ ఉంటుంది. ఆ లిమిట్ వరకే యాక్సెస్ చేస్తుంది, లిమిట్ దాటిందంటే అలో చేయలేదు. సో గేట్వే వర్క్ ప్రాసెస్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, కనెక్షన్స్ ఎవరైతే సిస్టంలోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతుండో వాడు మంచి కనెక్షనా కాదా, వ్యాలిడ్ కనెక్షనా కాదా చూసుకుంటుంది. దెన్ వ్యాలిడ్ అయితేనే వాడిని అలో చేస్తుంది, లేకపోతే చేయలేదు. మనం ఎలా అయితే మన ఇంటి ముందులో గేట్వే సెక్యూరిటీ ఎలా ఉంటాడు, మన ఇంట్లోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతుంటే వాడు మంచోడా కాదా, వాడికి వ్యాలిడ్ ఐడి ప్రూఫ్ ఉందా లేదా, సో మనిషి కాబట్టి వాడికి ఐడి అడ్రస్ ప్రూఫ్, వ్యాలిడ్ ప్రూఫ్, ఆధార్ కార్డు, పాన్ కార్డు ఏమవుతా చెక్ చేసి మొత్తం చెక్ చేసి ఇంట్లోకి పంపిస్తాడు అతను, రైట్. సేమ్ ఇక్కడ కూడా ఈ గేట్వే ప్రాసెస్ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే కనెక్షన్ వస్తుందంటే దానికి ఐపీ ఉందా లేదా చూసుకుంటుంది. ఐపీ ఉందంటే అలౌ చేస్తుంది, ఐపీ లేదంటే అలౌ చేయలేదు. మరి హ్యాకర్స్ ఐపీ ద్వారా కనెక్ట్ అవుతారా? కనెక్ట్ కారు. వాళ్ళు డిఫరెంట్ సంథింగ్ ఒక వైరస్ ద్వారా సంథింగ్ డిఫరెంట్ వేస్లలో కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంటారు వాళ్ళు, రైట్. అలాంటి కనెక్షన్స్ అలౌ చేయలేదు. సో అందుకనే సో ఎస్ఐపి లెవెల్లోనే కాదు, ఓఎస్ లెవెల్లోనే డీబీలో అన్ని వెళ్ళ అన్ని ప్రొడక్ట్స్ కి సెక్యూరిటీ ఉంటుంది. ఈవెన్ మన మొబైల్ ఫోన్ కి చాలా సెక్యూరిటీ ఉంటుంది పెట్టుకుంటాం మనం, ఫింగర్ ప్రింట్ అని ఫేస్ రికగ్నైజేషన్ చాలా పెట్టుకుంటాం. లేకపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? ఏమీ కాదు. హ్యాక్ అయింది అనుకో మొత్తం డేటా మొత్తం పోయిందా, రైట్. సిమిలర్ గా ఇక్కడ కూడా అంతే అనమాట. సో నార్మల్ సెక్యూరిటీ ఫీచర్స్ అది చూసుకుంటుంది. ఇంకా ఎక్కువ చేసుకోవాలంటే ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఫంక్షన్లోకి వెళ్ళి చేసుకుంటాం. దట్ ఈస్ ద థింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద గేట్వే వర్క్ ప్రాసెస్. సో for today can monitor about the just check the gateway connections and just review the other transactions AL08 SM04 whatever we discussed. Tomorrow we'll discuss about the spool. So what is mean by spool here? Last work process. Spool means in the printers we will use the spool. Spool work process will be used. Suppose you want to print the PDF, payslip, bank statements, you want to do the some printing. That time in SAP, the spool work process will be used here. Suppose in the airports, the airport bags, they want to do the barcode printing. If you go to the shopping malls, they are doing the barcode scanner and everything they are doing. So who will do that one? Here in the SAP, the back end, SAP spool work process will do the all these kind of printing methods and everything. Right? Suppose you want to print. Suppose if I take example, the YouTube, so SAP barcode printer. And if you go to the airports or label printing, if you go to the airports or somewhere, so you see, so many customers, they will use the SAP for barcode printing, barcode implementations and everything. Like they will print the barcodes from the SAP company name and barcodes, they will get it out as per the video. Seem right? Similar here, they're printing the data from SAP means because of in the back end, so in the back end you can see here, in the back end they will do the printing actually. In the back end, see here how they are printing, how they are using the SAP system. So they will print the other company names, barcode or scanner, rates, everything they will print from the SAP. See here how they are printing. I hope you can see screen, right? SAP will do here. In the back end, spool work process will take care of all this work and everything. When I go to the printer shop to print one panel, so what kind of screens we will get? Print screens. Same way here we will get. So tomorrow we'll discuss about detailed discussion about the printers and everything. Okay. For today, you can just practice the gateway and our previous transaction codes and everything. Just you can practice it. So tomorrow we'll go over detailed spool administration and everything. Okay. So